G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Gurmesh Sidhu from Moment Energy based in Vancouver, Canada. Thanks for your time today, Gurmesh.
No worries.
Let's start with how we know each other. I reached out to Samreem, one of the other co-founders at your business there on LinkedIn, and asked if she'd like to come on the cast. And at the last minute, she's dobbed you in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we're located in Vancouver, British Columbia. And the core principle behind our business is when an electric vehicle reaches end of life, there's still 80% capacity left in that electric vehicle's battery. That doesn't mean you got 80% of the range of the original vehicle. But what that does mean is it's perfect for stationary energy storage. And if you're not aware, with the adoptions of solar and wind and other renewable technologies, you need energy storage to really enable this adoption because they're intermittent. So when the wind's not blowing, you're not getting electricity without storing it somehow. So the whole principle behind our business is creating stationary energy storage from these electric vehicle batteries and optimizing them to ensure they're able to perform at their best while doing that. So our revenue model is simply based on one-time sales right now, but we are transitioning into something called an energy storage as a service model, where we charge our clients based on the energy they use from the batteries. And this allows us to, enable our clients to have some flexibility and reduces the upfront cost of purchasing one of our products. And another common business model here is also financing of the product.
Yeah. That's great. It's an awesome idea because otherwise, probably a lot of those batteries would one be unused or may even end up in landfill. So that's terrific.
Yeah, lots of lithium leak if they end up in landfills. So it can be very harmful to the environment or to drinking water and etc.
Yeah. So roughly how long does it take to use up that 20% of the battery in a car is the first question. And then what's the life you get for that final 80% roughly, if you have an idea yet?
Yeah, so it takes around 10 years on an electric vehicle lifetime to use up that first 80%, the first 20% capacity in the car, really depending on the automaker and the battery chemistry there and where you're driving it. If you're driving a vehicle in Houston, Texas, you're going to get a lot different of an experience than if you're driving it in the UK because of temperatures and the effects of it. But yeah, after around that 10-year mark, we find that that's when batteries go in for end of life, even if they're not at 80% capacity, because people get tired of their vehicles and they're looking to upgrade. And for us, we get around 7 to 10 years of use from our batteries based on running the batteries once a day. If you run them less frequency, you get a longer life out of them. If you run them more frequency, you can kind of optimize the life, but it'll be a bit shorter as well. So it really depends on the use case there as well, but around 7 to 10 years out of it.
Yeah, great. Wonderful idea. So how did you start out?
Yeah, so we started out of our university straight away. So we're all a part of the entrepreneurship team at our school, and we were working on a mental health setup with our entrepreneurship team, a program at our school. But what happened there was essentially we determined that as a group of 4 engineers, we weren't really a team that sort of mental health setup. We did really appreciate the value of mental health and acknowledge it's really valuable, but we knew batteries really well from our work with electric vehicles in the past. One of my co-founders, Gabe, worked at Tesla, for example, and we really understand what it takes to build an electric vehicle and an electric vehicle battery system. So we decided to take these skills, something we knew a little better, and we knew that the whole use case, right, of the electric vehicle reaches end of life, the batteries go into landfills or aren't really able to be recycled or too expensive to be recycled. So we decided we wanted to do something about it. So we started exploring, and we realized that nobody really understood how to solve this problem yet. And we had a pretty good idea. And three to 4 months in, we were able to develop a relationship with Nissan North America. And that's kind of, I guess, how we started off. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And what year did you start?
We started off in 2019.
Yep. And how old were you 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I guess I was 23 when we started the company. Yes.
Yep. Great. Yeah, I just love the idea. It's fantastic. Do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business in those 2 years?
Yeah, so we started off as four co-founders, as I mentioned, and four engineers, and now we're a team of around 16 people. And to put that in perspective, to add a little bit of a timeline to that, when COVID first came around, we weren't really hiring that much, so we really started hiring all within 2021. So from 2021, we've boomed from 4 to 16 employees right now.
Wow, that's amazing growth. Mm. And when was the moment you felt like you'd succeeded?
I think, we're still in the process of discovering what success means for our business, but we've definitely found success, I think, in our relationships with those automakers. And I think that first relationship with Nissan North America showed us that an automaker working with a 4-month-old company, indicates that this problem really hasn't been solved yet. And now we've really learned a lot about it and kind of understand that we are the team to solve it. So I think that was kind of what helped us realize that we're going to succeed in this space.
Yeah. And what does success look like to you?
Success looks like to me is building a pack that can compete with the big players out there. So I'd like to, get out a gigawatt hour of batteries a year in the long term and be able to make renewable energy the affordable solution for everybody and stop using those coal-fired or gas-fired peak energy plants.
Yeah, the renewables, the pace in the last 5 years is outstripped most people's expectation. I think here in Australia, we have the highest use of solar panels in the world per capita. And like the state that I live in now, Tasmania, it's an island just south of Melbourne, got a 500,000 people population in the state. 2/3 of it is national forest and park, which is great. But we are now 100% renewable because we've got hydro as well as solar and wind and a little bit of wave in there as well. And that battery idea is especially with the homes, with the solar, what Musk's doing with Solar City and Tesla wall batteries, you can just see, and even I heard the other day, using your electric cars to help feed back into the grid at peak when you're not, using your car. Batteries are going to be a big part of the renewable energy solution.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think you kind of see in places like Texas or in a province called Alberta in Canada, we get negative energy prices when the wind's blowing too strong. So you definitely need to find a place to put that energy instead of paying people to take it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a bit of debate in the last few months here in Australia. I think it was South Australia, actually. They were talking about exactly negative pricing, charging houses because the grid cannot cope with all the energy that's coming from the solar network at the moment. So that'll be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely something that, throwing a few batteries on the grid would really solve. I guess Australia is kind of a big leader with that big mega pack installed.
Yeah, that was the tweet bet that one of the founders of Atlassian, an Australian, had with Elon Musk, and the South Australian government ended up paying, I don't know what they paid for it, but I think the payback period was very, very short. They got all their money back pretty much within 2 years.
Yeah, if it was with Second Life batteries, it might have been a bit quicker too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
I think the one thing I'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business is focus on those key clients that you see a lot of traction in. You can go in 16 different industries and you get pull from 16 different directions, but you can really tell what genuine pull is. It's when they're willing to sign that LOI on the second or third meeting, or when they're really able to put the money where their mouth is, right, and show that they actually want to get your product, and they're going to be the people to help you commercialize that. You can tell kind of those people who just want to get information from you and drag you from meeting to meeting. So really focus on the markets that you consistently find interest from.
How did you fund the business?
So our business is funded through a few different avenues. And initially, I guess the reason why we were reached out to for this podcast was because we raised a $3.5 million seed round with Version 1 Capital in the United States. We've also raised a lot of money through government funding. We're very lucky to be from Canada, where we have a series of government programs that can help us fund co-op grants and etc. And we've even gotten funding from our school, Simon Fraser University, to help pay for like our first semesters while working, where we weren't taking an income.
Yeah.
So we funded the company through various different ways, including the classic friends and family round as well.
Yeah, geez, I reckon any government would be very keen to give you grant money for an initiative like this.
Yes, definitely. And, hopefully there's more to come.
I think I know the answer to this next one. If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
I definitely would. I guess we're continuing to try to get more funding towards our startup. Uh, and I think our industry is definitely going to be the solution to the issues with renewables right now and the slow adoption. I believe that, batteries are the solution, and particularly the second life batteries will bring that cost down, especially in markets where they can't afford to buy those brand new batteries from those large battery conglomerates.
I'm just still in awe. There was no real competitor in the marketplace in Northern America when you came up with it?
So there are other companies doing second life batteries, but none of them are taking the approach we're taking. They're all focusing on one specific automaker and taking the time to really push the automaker. And a lot of them focus on the same automaker, but we're really focused on putting our supply first, developing a robust supply chain. And if 2021 has shown us anything, that supply chains are volatile, you need to have multiple suppliers there.
Yeah.
Even automakers are suffering in 2021, and they have the strongest supply chains in the world. So I think that's what kind of set us apart so far in this space. That's not to say there aren't other players in it, but really none of them are making the automakers satisfied.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Yeah, I think the most stressful point has been those moments where a sale falls through right before the final stages. Typically, being a hardware startup, it's due to it's just small issues with their system that makes our system incompatible with them. And this has also kind of taught us that our system has to be more versatile and kind of use it to develop what our system is going to be.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
Yeah, I guess since we're an engineering team, we've done really well at defining what a product looks like, understanding that. But sales, I think, is something we've had to work on the most and develop our skill set at. A lot of our hires are in sales, and I guess now we're going back into the engineering side, developing intellectual property and making sure our product is the best in the market.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
I think the worst thing about managing fast growth is you have to learn how what's worth your time to do and what's worth your time not to do as a leader in the company, right? There's certain things that you can't be doing as a founder, and learning which things those are, even if they're things you love to do. So I think it's kind of understanding that balance has been definitely the most difficult thing and hardest thing for me to let go of.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially when you're starting out, because you're excited, you want to do everything now. And time is our most precious resource. It's finite, it's not renewable. Dad joke intended. What do you love most about growing a small business?
I think the feeling of gratification, right? We're giving people jobs, especially in this difficult job market right now. We're giving people jobs, and we're saving the planet while doing it. We're reducing carbon footprint, and we're reducing the carbon footprint from multiple different angles, from the coal burning fire plants in the grid to the energy it takes to recycle these batteries, and the energy it takes to run diesel off grid, and etc. So we're definitely really happy that we're reducing carbon dioxide pollution from so many different angles, and we're really able to actually make a meaningful impact on the planet. Yeah.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
I think it goes back to letting go of control. Sometimes your employees are going to be better than you at certain things. Letting them take over that what they're better than you at is going to help the business grow and help you focus on what you're skilled at.
What is the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
I think it's tenacity. There's going to be moments where you feel like your business is about to go down, and it could just be exaggeration, could just be a bad day, or it could be a really rough finding out and rough news. Sorry, and with that rough news, you need to be able to push through it. You can't just give up every time a challenge faces you. You have to push past that news and make sure that you're doing what it takes to build that business.
Want to become the best manager you can be? Check out our Kick-Ass Manager course at growasmallbusiness.com. Do the course and add your fellow managers for no extra cost. Join the 30%. 70% of people quit their job because of their manager.
This will be very interesting, I think, to the audience, given the last 11 months and the amount of people you've piled into the business. Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
Yeah, so and luckily we haven't had any major mistakes adding people to the team. All of our team members have been amazing and loyal to our team. But some advice I have is take time making sure people fit in with you. You can have the best technical hire in the world and it doesn't fit in your culture. They don't belong in the team. So I think what they say is hire for people who fit in the team, and then hire for people who have that talent as well. And maybe you will be paying a little bit more, but you'll get that talent that's worth it and it'll help you grow.
Yeah. On that, how do you filter out, the cultural fit? How do you know whether someone's going to fit or not?
Yeah, our team's a very exciting, energetic team. We all love nature and etc. So kind of from that first interview, you can tell whether they're a good fit. We have people who are like introverts, people who are extroverts, and like diverse fits in the team. But you can tell we're looking for people who are open-minded and etc. And you can kind of tell who's a good fit for the business. We've had anyone interview with us, from a climate change denier trying to work with the cleantech startup to people who are super open-minded and succeeded in getting the job.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
Yeah, so I think that's something that our team does really well with. And I've just handled balance by acknowledging that by working 20 hours a day in the startup, you're not furthering the startup for 20 hours a day. Sometimes you're finding yourself getting bogged up with tasks that you don't need to be doing. And you also lose efficiency when you don't get rest, because burnout is a very real thing. And I think any founder has experienced burnout at least some level. So it's really discovering where you can work as hard as you can and optimize your time in doing it. Also reading a lot of entrepreneurship books have kind of taught me how to do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking hard, I think, because we love what we do. And especially the startup phase, you're just so excited. You're like a little Energizer bunny. But you've got to have that discipline, put boundaries in place, take time off. And Canadians like us, Tasmanians here, we love the outdoors. So that's what I do, is take my chocolate Labrador for a bushwalk nearly every day and gets me away from the computer. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
How much I think this one's going to be pretty obvious if you're an engineer, but how much professional development have you invested in yourself?
Yeah, so I guess I have a degree in engineering. So that's kind of the professional development I've had in terms of monetary investment. But in terms of time, we've invested a lot. We've gone through a lot of incubator programs from Simon Fraser University's, our university's incubator program, through multiple Canadian and nationally recognized programs in North America. So I think that's something that's really taught us how to kind of develop our skill set and etc.
So is that something you've focused on, particularly because you've got 4 engineers, that you've looked more at learning the business side of things and sales and things you didn't really learn at uni?
I think it was a little bit of that and a little bit of the fact that we're entering an energy market. And as a team of 4 young founders entering a market, that's not as young. You have to understand how to operate within that market and who works in that market. So I think it's a combination of both, is really getting people who understand the nuances of working in an energy market and then understanding how to make a sale as an engineer as well.
Have you had any mentors or coaches along the way?
We've had lots of mentors and coaches, and we currently have a lot. So we've kind of picked them up throughout the way from different applications. Some of them are energy experts in the field. Some of them help us with inclusivity and diversity. And some of them help us just understanding marketing and everything. And all of our mentors we've picked up have been through incubator programs we work a part of, or people who've really found our business interesting while working with them. Talking to them, sorry. Yeah.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
Yes, so we do have a board of directors. It's made up of two of our team members and an investor, and then our board chair is our CEO, Edward.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, your CEO is the chair of the board, did you say?
Yes.
Oh, great. And is the CEO one of the founders?
Yes, he is.
Yep, great.
I did it with us.
All right, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
The hardest thing in growing a small business is, I think it's definitely sticking through to it. Everyone can say they're going to start something. Everyone can, not everyone, but if you come from a place where this opportunity presents, you can get some money to start it as well. But really, that mental battle with yourself to make sure that you're sticking to what you're saying and doing it right.
Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
I'm a huge Ben Horowitz fan, so either The Hard Things About Hard Things or What You Do Is Who You Are.
Yeah.
Both of those, yes.
I read that book, and I think it's most people's favorite part of the book and phrase is, if you've got to eat shit, don't nibble.
Yeah, I think so. I think he does a really good job, telling you that you have to stick it through or you're going to fail.
Yeah. Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
My favorite startup podcast is no longer active. It's Startup by Gimlet Media, particularly the first season, where it's a podcast about starting a business. And one of the first episodes is a failed pitch to Chris Sacca, who's a big VC. So it kind of shows you what it's like to start a company and how stressful it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
I think just Excel. You can do anything, or just any spreadsheet software. You can do anything in a spreadsheet, from customer relationship management to email templates or anything. I think that is a tool we use the most at the moment. That could be my engineer speaking though.
No, I love my spreadsheets. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Finally, my favorite question: what would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
I think I would tell myself not to be afraid of taking big business risks and moving fast. You can get pretty far if you are very aggressive out the gate. And not to say we haven't, we have connections with 3 tier 1 automakers 2 years after starting our business, but just not to be scared of it and to be willing to take those risks earlier.
Great. Well, thanks for your time today, Gurmesh. I think the audience will get a lot of value out of your journey so far. A bit over 2 years now, gone from the 4 founders, ramped up this year over the last 11 months to now 16. That's phenomenal growth. And it'd be great to have you back on the cast in a couple of years when you've rolled out a lot more secondhand batteries and changing the world.
That'd be great. Awesome. Thanks so much.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.